clairvoyant Wesley. I'm Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost. Basically like, Greta, you in danger, girl.
Guys, let's cut directly to Oscar night. We're at the final award. Guillermo del Toro steps to the stage to accept Best Picture for The Shape of Water. And at this moment, we realize none of our favorites have taken home any awards. No Get Out, no Lady Bird.
I'll be sad, but I won't be surprised. I mean, if you look, Get Out has 4 nominations. Of Lady Bird's nominations, it seemed when I saw the movie that Laurie Metcalf was a lock, which means that she and Jordan Peele are going to have to duke it out for original screenplay. And I'm going to be sad to see one of them win and one of them lose. Unless, of course, Guillermo del Toro wins that one too!
Do you think that's going to happen? No, right?
Listen, we don't know. This is the whole reason to do this. We don't know.
Let's say in the universe that we're proposing, which is not real,
right?
But could be real, that The Big Sick wins Best Original Screenplay.
Oh boy! Now I'm the big sick.
Yeah. Okay. Right. There we go.
I'm little sick.
Wow!
Wow!
You really leaned into that.
Oh man, is that a Okay, go on.
I think that would mean that neither of those films are going to win, because I don't think Laurie Metcalf is going to win.
That is
Janney
another
will
killer.
But that's like a whole separate argument.
Can we talk about that for parenthetically
Sure.
1 second?
Yeah.
When did that get decided?
Really early.
When did
early.
it? I mean,
I don't.
It's unanimous. I don't understand. There's been no variation. Laurie Metcalf has not really won.
And Allison Janney has won everything. And I've
I
said
just
this
don't
before.
get it.
when did? But I'm just shocked by this.
I don't
because
get it at all.
one performance is good and one performance is not.
But one has a bird.
And one is in Lady Bird. So you do the math. That cancels itself out.
I think what they're rewarding is overperformance, which in Best Supporting categories, you see people who really are going for it. And Allison Janney she's Jannying, she's going for it.
Not talking to you.
I didn't roll my eyes at you.
You think I like working for you?
Back,
You selfish bitch.
But
It's not even good Jannying, which is kind of the other thing. This is kind of autopilot Jannying, which is my frustration with it.
Well, what would be a good example of Jannying then?
The West Wing.
Okay.
Or you can see it every damn week on CBS, and it's there for you. And I know that the script was written for her in many ways. I think she's good. I like Allison Janney. I wish her well. She's a good actress. This just kind of seems like a paint by numbers performance.
Okay.
And Laurie Metcalf is doing really interesting stuff, and I don't get it.
What did you guys like about Laurie Metcalf?
I just think that Laurie Metcalf is the best neurotic actress America might have.
That's not the name of the award.
But it is the performance though, right? Like I think that what she does in this movie is just it's so subtle and yet so unafraid to be obviously emotional and to be emotionally transparent, I guess is maybe the concept I'm looking for. There's something about the way she can both throw away a line and keep enough of the line so that it stings, hurts, makes you laugh. I just think that it's just a real masterclass in both directedness and subtlety.
They both have an interesting thing where they both have moments where there is no dialogue and the camera sits on them. There's one, obviously in Lady Bird, there's a very famous scene at the end of the movie where Laurie Metcalf's character drops off Lady Bird at the airport and does not see her off as she travels to New York to go to college. And she drives alone in the car and she takes a lap around the airport. And we see on her face this confusion and this frustration and this resentment and anger, and she's really grappling with how she feels. In I, Tonya, Allison Janney basically just side eyes the camera in this documentary format, and she has a bird on her shoulder, as you said.
Yeah.
So, what are we awarding?
I mean, I'm wondering what the people who are voting for this in every guild and I guess at the Oscars are voting for. What is it that they're seeing that I'm not seeing? Because I think it's a pretty cynical choice because it's such an Oscar performance to me from her that I just expect better from her, kind of, but it's not even her. It's the screenplay. I just don't think that she's given enough to do in excess of what gets you an Oscar reel.
Right. So we're talking about both of these categories because it's well, these are smaller, lesser categories. Maybe this is a way to get Get Out and Lady Bird a win. They're also both nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they both could win. I mean, there is a scenario in which both those movies win.
And then what happens? We all melt?
I will.
Yeah.
I will be thrilled.
I will melt.
of
I will
joy?
jump
Yeah.
out the window.
Okay.
I will hump my TV. I don't know what I'm gonna do actually if they win, because remember. Let's just go back to last year. You knew when they opened the envelope, or at least I knew. I felt fairly certain that the winner was gonna be La La Land,
Sure.
and I was like, okay, well, that's too bad. But they won the screenwriting award. They won original screenplay, Barry Jenkins and Terrell McRae. And
Well, let me
Yeah.
suggest something.
Yes.
What if every year at Best Picture we have a Moonlight on purpose, where someone is announced
Oh,
and it's like a
God.
false flag,
This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing.
and then that person they have to go up and accept the award,
we already live in enough of that
Yeah.
America.
and then it's wrong.
No, we don't need that.
But go on.
But wouldn't that be an exhilarating experience to see someone feel like they're gonna win every time and then not win, and then the suspense when we have to wait for Warren Beatty to come out and show us the real envelope every year until he dies?
Well,
Yeah.
that's awful. That's a Hunger Games situation.
Sure.
Well, we're trying to make the
would
Oscars
be good
exciting.
too.
Right.
But I will say, as just as a moral duty, I think the producers of this year's show, and I don't know if you and I, Sean, have talked about this, but I think the producers of this year's show have a moral obligation to set the record straight and restage Best Picture from last year. I don't know if they open the show this way. I don't know what they do, but they have to do something to
Yeah.
give Barry Jenkins the Oscar
should.
outright.
Yes.
That does not involve guilt and shame and Warren and Faye.
Yes, and also you can't do it as a joke. If you
No,
open
no,
it-
it's sincere.
Yeah.
It's not like an opening. It's not like
Right.
like a musical number.
Right.
They are just restaging
Exactly.
Best
Right.
Picture.
But that's important to clarify because
Right,
the point
yes,
is you
that's
wanted
a
to
great-
have his
yeah.
moment and everyone to be happy for him instead of being like,
Yes.
what the hell's going on?
You relist the nominees. You
Yes.
go through all the Best Picture nominees,
Right.
and you open an envelope, and the envelope, you hold the envelope up to the camera and say, Moonlight.
You think this is going to happen?
I think it should happen, and I think you get Warren and Faye to do it. I think you.
I don't think we can trust them with anything.
I think
I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm with you up until the point that you're handing Warren Beatty anything at this point.
I don't want it to be the sort of thing where like it's Oprah and Denzel who do it. Do you know what I mean? I feel
Sure,
like
sure.
I feel like because that's a scenario if they take this crazy idea that I
Right.
have, I think that Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway have to do it because they need to be let off the hook too. Although not entirely Faye Dunaway, but whatever.
Here's my thing.
Okay.
Two people, I understand they didn't have reading glasses with them, but what does it take for one person to take responsibility in the moment and just say, I'm not totally sure what's going on, but this is the most important night in Hollywood for a lot of people, and maybe I'm gonna hold the envelope a little closer to my face.
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
Because the
They're actors?
Oscars are circumscribed to a death. They are so overmanaged as these things go that anytime there is an introduction of a rogue agent, in this case, a PricewaterhouseCoopers official who was more interested in getting a selfie with Emma Stone than he was in handing Faye and Warren the right envelope.
There before the grace of God. Go on.
and Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, who are literally trained to read things off of paper, read something on paper. And they got that thing wrong.
They read half of it.
They saw the watchwords they needed,
Okay.
which were La La Land.
Great.
And it gave us an extraordinary moment. That was a great moment.
Yeah.
Was it sad for the makers of Moonlight? A little bit. And will they be able to make up for it at this ceremony?
I hope so.
Maybe.
I hope so.
I suspect that it will be a joke. That they'll make a joke out
Yeah.
of it. That
Yeah,
Jimmy
totally.
Kimmel
They-
and
Yeah.
They can't do that.
They will.
can't. It is unjust. And also it embarrassed the broadcast, right? I feel like the show needs to get.
It embarrassed it, but also everyone was talking about the broadcast we're still talking about it a year later. When was
Yes.
the last time that you actually had thoughts and feelings about an Oscar broadcast?
you felt exhilaration when Moonlight won, despite the circumstances.
I'm torn on this because I do think it is unjust, but I also think I was not crazy about La La Land. I felt something in particular about feeling like the award was being snatched, which is rude, which is childish. But the drama of the moment was significant for me. I do think it was bad. And I also I wonder about restaging it this year because I think the Oscars have a lot of Me Too stuff to think about as well.
Well,
in
it
terms of-
also takes their mind off of that. I mean, they don't want to deal with this Me Too stuff.
they have to.
I mean, that
Again,
be that as
will
it
they?
may.
I think we're talking about
And
a
I
lot
think
of things that
they have to
should
focus
do
on that.
and will not do.
I think before
these
they can
things
think
are
about anything
all
else.
connected to,
Yeah.
to Get Out and Lady Bird too. And one of
Yeah.
the reasons that those movies resonated with people is because they feel like a slightly different kind of story that usually wins at the Oscars. And Moonlight's win, complex though it was, indicated that like maybe things have changed. Maybe a different kind of movie can win Best Picture. So
Yeah.
now we get our hopes up,
Right.
and then The Shape of Water wins, and then back to the grindstone.
Can I just say one thing? Just one thing. I feel like we have to give somebody credit for The Shape of Water. I don't know what. Did you hear?
You mean
that,
like
guys?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ? Like
It is interesting. In the same way that Allison Janney has just been pre-consecrated as your Best Supporting Actress winner, which also makes me think it's not going to happen in a weird way. But I don't know.
Right.
I always have an Oscar dream a couple weeks before the show. I dream that Octavia Spencer won. That's not a wish, although I wouldn't mind. But it does.
Right.
I think it augurs something.
what else
That
do
you're
you
being
dream
visited
of?
by the spirits of Oscar? Like what?
Yeah, it happens every year. Anyway,
Perhaps
Okay,
a new
great.
segment here.
well, clairvoyant Wesley. I'm Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost. Basically, like, Greta, you endanger girl. I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's really interesting that you've got in the Best Picture category, there are like 5 movies
Absolutely.
that could legitimately win.
Yes.
And among them are Get Out and Lady Bird.
Yes.
What else?
3 billboards.
Shape of Water, Dunkirk.
Yes.
But here's the thing. The fact that it's slightly more possible that Get Out and Lady Bird will win Best Picture, we can talk more about the preferential ballot and all the ways that it could happen, but they're either going to win Best Original Screenplay or Best Picture. And somehow the fact that it is even the slightest chance that they're going to win Best Picture or that they could win Best Picture means that I will be far more devastated when 3 Billboards or Shape of Water win. I'll be really upset because I
Shape
think it
of
could
Water
happen.
would devastate you?
Well,
I just feel like
And
this
listen,
happens every year where I think there's some perfectly innocent movie.
it's fine. I also like Amelie,
That
but like
people-
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If it wins, I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just feel like if it wins, it means that between those 2 movies that we really loved, they only won 1 award. And it'll just feel like a Shape of Water night. And it's not so much that specific award as you walk away at the evening and being like, cool, the fish sex movie won. Great.
But think about
that's
what you
big.
just said. Think the
I
fish
think.
Is it
sex.
The
Why?
fish sex movie.
I mean, just
What if the Post wins? Will we feel validated in this moment? That was the effort behind that movie, was to say
Wow.
like Steven Spielberg got the script in February. He said, "This is a moment in time. I need to capture the story in this age of Trump. I must make this film." And then he made the film in 4 months, and they put it out, and everybody was like, "Cool, it's a movie." And it is in the odds. It is 100 to 1 to win. It has the worst odds of any movie, which is fascinating because it's a movie directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks
Right.
and Meryl Streep, about the Washington Post in a time of war. How did we get here where we're talking about being heartbroken about Get Out and Lady Bird potentially losing while the Post has no effing chance?